What is up, you guys, and welcome back to another video. What a crazy and hectic month it's been this month of December, getting ready for the holidays, for the new year. I hope you guys have had a blessed month, and welcome back to the channel. Like I said, if you're new, this is my son Jacob, and it's time to cut his hair. I've let it go for a month. I've neglected this boy's hair. I've not cut it at all, and it's just time to get it brushed over to the side, get it parted, and just decide what I wanted to do with it. So normally I always do a skin fade on him just because it looks nice, the haircut lasts a long time, but it's been really cold lately, you guys, throughout the day and especially the mornings, so I didn't want to go too short on his head just so his little head wasn't cold in the mornings. So the lowest I'm going to go on this haircut is a number 1 with the lever about halfway to 3/4 of the way closed, and that'll be what I'm making pretty much the base of the hair with. So I'm gonna go up quite a bit just because this is gonna be the shortest part of the hair, and I'll just leave a good amount of hair right above that, and we'll begin to blend that out right after I do this opposite side. This cut was honestly really different for me because I don't normally do cuts like this. I don't run into a lot of adult clients or even adult clients who want me to cut their kids' hair. I just don't run into people who ask for a haircut like this, but I know there's a lot of you out there who like to do this type of cut on your kid. When you do a skin fade, it just requires a lot more detail when it comes to blending, and I believe this is just a cut that you can just knock out really quick on your child's head. And as you saw, we started with that number 2 guard with the lever all the way open and just blended at that line until I had the lever all the way closed. And I'm going to do the same exact thing with this number 1.5 guard, going at different angles, just straight up and down and side to side at different angles, just to get all that hair. And while you guys are doing this, do not forget to keep brushing the hair. That way we can keep the blend nice and even. You can see that I did leave like a little gap of hair towards the top of the hair. That's the hair that's going to lay over like the side of his head when I'm parting his hair, and I'm going to blend that out with a little bit of clipper over comb here a bit. As you guys can see so far, the hair has blended out quite well, and I'm pretty satisfied with how it's looking so far. Now, still using the number 1 guard, I grabbed the comb and I'm just going to do a little bit of clipper over comb, focusing just on that bottom part of the hair that you can see. Gonna try and get it blended out. As I scoop the hair, I'm just pulling the comb towards me, and that will just help me to determine how much I can actually cut. With the top of his hair, I really focused on that clipper over comb on all the sides, the back portion, because there was just a lot of hair hanging everywhere and he had quite a bit of cowlicks, so I kept it dry and wanted to just keep it like in its natural position, how it normally is, and this really worked very well. On the opposite end, I'm going to go ahead and spray the hair down with a water bottle, and I just have a simple little comb that I'll use to separate the hair and create that little part line. That is his natural part line, by the way. With that number 2 guard, I'm going to go all the way up pretty much to the line area with that and just blend up into it. Nothing too special. I don't really dig it into his hair. I'm kind of doing a flicking out motion. If I dig it into his hair, it'll just create like a bald line. It's really weird, his hair. So I'm just kind of flicking out and not actually into it. But anyways, you guys, number 1.5 guard, using that with the lever about halfway closed, and gonna just blend out that number 2 line. These type of haircuts are really cool because you don't have to do a lot of work to blend out those lines, since the guards are pretty close in size to one another. About the peak of his hair near the guideline, I'm just doing a little bit of clipper over comb action with that number 1 guard to blend out that number 2 above. His hair was quite bulky towards the top, and doing this clipper over comb really helped me to control how much hair I actually wanted to cut right there. That way I could just make sure I was getting a nice even blend doing this. I'm wetting his hair here once again. I'm gonna brush it down just to see and determine the length of his hair. Gonna part it on different sections, and nothing too crazy, you guys. I'm not the best when it comes to doing scissor work, but it's cool because I get to practice like this. Moving towards the front of his hair, you guys can notice I'm not just cutting like straight across, I'm kind of cutting at an angle. It's just to give the hair a little bit of texture and just some direction. I like to do that. I do notice a difference instead of cutting it straight across, cutting it the way you see me. Just makes it look nice, as you guys can see. Using my Babyliss trimmers, I'm using just a corner and I'm going to clean right behind the ears and the little C-cup area. You guys can't really see it in the video probably, but there was quite a bit of hair growing on that C-cup area. And I'm just going to thin out those sideburns as low as I can get them. And I think it looks really good, you guys. It looks really clean. I was feeling it. I was definitely laughing on this part. I thought it was funny doing the thin sideburns. Never did these on him before, but they came out pretty good. Using those same trimmers, I'm cleaning right behind the neck. Luckily, there wasn't too much that needed to be done behind there. Just needed to clean up some of the hair that was growing like on the side of his neck. I would say where I had the most difficulty with this cut is just right here behind like the neck where it dips. He just has a dip. I had that as a child as well. And it just makes it a little more tougher to clean behind there. So I grabbed my Andis, the Slimline Pros, and these helped a lot just to get behind there and get a little more extra detail where the Babyliss clippers are just a little too wide to use right there. Notice how I'm using just a corner right there of the blade just to clean behind the ears. Very gentle. The vibration isn't as strong as these Babyliss clippers, but I went ahead and got them right back in my hands because they clean around the ears very well and they're nice and sharp. Provide just a little bit more detail than the little Andi Slimline Pros I was using previously. I won't lie, I was having a little bit of trouble getting the sideburn really thin like the other side. This side was just a little bit thicker in growth on his sideburns, but I did my best just to kind of slim it down as best as I could, pushing it in and just trying to get it nice and even with the other side. I did wet down the hair a little bit more and started parting it to the side. That way I can go ahead and clean up his front lineup area. I would say this is definitely one of the most tedious parts of a haircut, any haircut. It's just the lineup area because if you mess up on this, you mess up on the entire cut. So I definitely do take my time on this. For reference, I sped up this part of the video up to 2 times speed, so I am going pretty slow on it. I ended up switching to the Andi Slimline Pros just because he does have a small forehead and I didn't want to really like cut into his eyebrow by accident with the Babyliss, and they did a good job. I'm just going to brush his hair down a little bit and cut it with the trimmer just because his bangs were a little too long, but I'm not cutting too much, you guys, just a little bit. I'm going to leave some length, that way it looks nice when I part it to the side. Look at that, y'all. It looks really good. He does have a little like cowlick kind of right there on the front, and I don't push his line up too much right there. Try to keep it real even though the hair is lighter, but just grab the scissors, doing a little bit of scissor work, cleaning any extra hairs that were sticking up. Got the number 2 guard right there just in case that last clip was too fast, and I'm just trimming down with the comb a little bit of hair. I like using this number 2 guard when I want to keep the length kind of long on the sides and just a little more even with the sides of the hair. Time to apply some Tomb 45 shave gel to the C-cup area and the little lineup area here in the front. Gonna go ahead and grab a straight razor and just gently square everything up and make sure everything's nice and even. In my opinion, this side came out really good. I just love the way this side came out with the sideburns and everything. And the opposite end, it did come out really good, but it just didn't come out as clean on the sideburn area as his right side right there. For this front part and every part I'm lining up, I'm pulling down and stretching on the skin. That way I don't cut him or nick him, and it just tightens up everything and allows me to get a nice and cleaner cut. It does seem a little sketchy, especially since you're using a very sharp razor, but I just go very gently across the skin. I'm not applying no pressure at all because the razor is very sharp and it honestly just does all the work. I did apply a little bit of Johnny B hair gel and I'm just going to brush it in place so I can see what needs to be done. He did have a little bit of a cowlick, but I wasn't too worried about that. I will go ahead and clean up his little part line here in a bit, but I just grabbed that number 1 guard with the lever, I believe, all the way open, and I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup work right there on the bottom, making sure everything's nice and even, attaching the number 1.5 guard and flicking up into that number 2 guard from previous. We got about a minute left of this video, and I just wanted to do a little more touch up on the very top part. I just felt like it was still too long on the sides, and I grabbed the number 4 guard with the lever all the way closed, and I'm just knocking down some of that cowlick. It did a really good job because it didn't take down too much, but to blend down that number 4, I wanted to close that number 3 guard about halfway and just start blending right up into that. The last thing I'm going to do with the number 2 guard is just clean up this opposite end. I didn't really like the line that I saw right there, but I ended up using the 1.5 guard after that. And here are the results, you guys. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your year and an even better new year. Peace, y'all.